You're listening to Zap Night's Zap Chats, a monthly video game discussion. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Zap Chats. I'm your host, Danny.
I'm your co-host, Kaylee.
We are in March of 2021.
It's Pi Day.
It is Pi Day, yeah. It's the day before the episode airs, so yeah, 314. Did you do anything for Pi Day? Did you have pie?
I thought about pie.
I am always thinking about pie.
I like key lime pie.
Oh, really? I like
key lime pie yogurt is amazing.
Lemon meringue pie is my favorite.
Ooh, I think apple pie is my favorite. Like, the smell of apple pie.
I really like apple pie too, and pumpkin pie and
just all the pie.
No, there are some pies that it's like too much, like chocolate pudding pie or something like that. Like no
chocolate silk pie.
But the lemon meringue pie, it takes the cake.
Nice.
So what have you been playing, Kaylee?
Not a whole lot.
No?
No, not really. I'm trying to get back into Animal Crossing a little bit.
I heard bits and pieces of you playing some 14. How's that been going?
It's been slow. I like hop between my games for like a few days at a time, and that's about it.
Well,
Not
you
much
haven't had a
report.
podcast, so you haven't had any games to like sit and focus on.
Yeah. It's kind of nice just when I do want to sit down, just kind of play a day of Stardew, a day of Animal Crossing, just I don't know, just chilling.
Throw in some Minecraft and realize that the server's down.
Yeah, that happens quite a bit.
Yeah, sorry. So go ahead.
So how's your game going?
Yeah, me and Shannon have been playing Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey, the first Oddworld game. And it's fun, very difficult. And the problem that we're having right now is that we'll sit down and we'll play for, 4 or 5 hours on the weekends usually. And we'll sit down and we'll start playing, and it takes about an hour to get into the rhythm of the game again. And then by the time we finally start making some progress, it's like getting late. So then we end it, and then, we get back together the next weekend and try and make more progress. We're over halfway done. We're really close to finishing the game. The game tallies us at like 8 hours or something like that, but we've put probably double that into the game because the game only tracks your run. It doesn't track all of your retries because when you die, it reloads to your last save point. So, similar to Final Fantasy games, but in this game, you're dying all the time. It's not recording that time of, repeating the level over and over and over again, because there are some levels that we're spending hours on just repeating and repeating and repeating, trying to beat a level, and then we finally beat it and we make some progress, but it only tracks to minute and a half that it takes to beat the level, not the 2 hours that we spent perfecting it to be able to beat the level. So it's been a work in progress. We're almost done with it. We'll definitely have it done by the end of the month, but I don't know. It's been an adventure for sure.
Well, that sucks.
I don't know. I mean, the time recording sucks because I like showing that we've got so much time into a game, and when you have a game that we've spent, way more time in, and you look at the time ticker and it's only like, 5 hours in, and here we've been actually playing more like 10, it's tough. We were streaming it. We streamed the first part, but we realized streaming and an infant child is not a good combination. So we haven't been continuing the stream. But that said, when we pick up our next game after we do the review for Oddworld, I'll be streaming that, whatever it may be. We've been talking about doing an RPG game, so it'll probably be that. But we'll see. We'll reveal that on our Oddworld podcast episode.
Yeah.
Let's see. I've also been playing some Mario Run on my phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we've been playing a few of the Nintendo games on our phones that connect to the Nintendo Online account. And when you make so much progress, you get coins in the Nintendo account, and you can redeem those coins for, like, stuff. And so I've been playing Mario Run recently, but also Fire Emblem and the Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. And when I say play, I use this term extremely loosely. Like, Fire Emblem, you make so many coins for every chapter that you beat, but it also has like a auto battle feature. So I literally just like turn on Fire Emblem, I hit the auto button or the auto battle feature, and I just set the phone down and do my thing. And then I come back and I check on it. I'm like, oh, it's done. Continue to the next battle, auto battle, set it aside, continue what I'm doing. So I'm like, I'm playing it just for the coins. That said, Mario Run, I'm actually playing it and I'm actually having a lot of fun, but it's going to be short-lived because I'm not planning on buying the game, and you can only play the it's the first 4 levels, which is the first like world. So you get 3 levels and then the castle that you can play, and you can play over and over as many times as you want. But in order to progress to unlock the rest of the worlds, you have to buy the game, and I'm not going to. But,
That's
you know,
great.
it's fun to play with and pick up when you're bored or waiting in line or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Cool. I was honestly surprised.
You know, I am not a fan of mobile games, and I never really have been. In fact, we picked up, what was it? Final Fantasy Brave Exvius? Is that what it was?
Oh, yeah. Ugh.
And we tried playing that, and I kind of remember we talked about this a little bit when we first started playing it, but we got, like, all the way through the first part, and then it was like, you gotta wait until December for the next part, and it's like, this is dumb. Because in reality, they could just play, you know, there's no story progression. They could just keep doing more and more chapters infinitely. And then what's the point? You know, you're not making any progress. You're just like another expansion, which is kind of how I feel about 11 and 14 too. Like, there's no, yeah, each one has their own story, but like, there is no end to the game. So, I don't know, I guess for some people who love those games, that's great, but for someone like me who wants to have an end cap to my games to move on to something else, it's not very fun. I don't like that concept.
That kind of game, it's not my kind of game anyway. And like, you would have to like dump a whole bunch of time into one of those kinds of games. And when I play a mobile game, I want to play it for like at max 15 minutes and be done. And like, only not I don't want to do it all. Like, if I'm max 15 minutes is a long time for me. So like, if I can't finish what I want to do in 5 minutes, well, I don't want to keep doing 15-minute intervals 15 times throughout the day. And yeah, if your game can't progress, I don't know. It just was not the kind of game for me.
I feel weird about paying for mobile games too. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's like they advertise it as this free game, but then it's like not really a free game, you know? Like, it's free to an extent, and then like you only have so much energy or whatever that you gain for every like 6 hours, and it's just silly.
That's the problem. Is I associate mobile games as just a way for people to siphon money from me, to just pay more and do this, pay more, and like that's all that these apps are. But I also feel about mobile games how I feel about mobile desktop sites, or sorry, like You either have the desktop website or a mobile site,
Oh yeah,
and the
yeah.
mobile, like, I would rather have the full game, not the mobile game. I don't know.
Right.
I I'm not doing my serious gaming on my phone. Like,
Right. Yeah,
that's
I agree.
yeah.
There is a new Mistwalker game that's coming out, and Mistwalker, if you remember, is the people who made Last Story.
Mhm.
So it's the Final Fantasy guy, and
Yeah.
Nobu is doing the music, and it sounds like this awesome game until they're like coming to mobile, and it's like, oh,
No.
so you weren't serious about this. And it's like, it's gonna be a full game. You're gonna, you buy it, the one-time fee, you buy it, you have the full game, and it has an ending, just like any other game. But I feel so weird with it being on my phone. Like, it feels like a half-assed product just because it's going to my mobile phone.
Yeah.
Which, isn't necessarily the case. I mean, look at like Chrono Trigger and some of these other games that have come to mobile that are full games. They're just mobile version. And I still feel the same way about it. Like, I'd much rather play my Chrono Trigger on either my TV or like a 3DS than on my phone.
Well,
it's just
even then,
silly.
I'm not crazy about some of my RPGs being on handheld.
Yeah.
Mostly because they always tend to do the chibified versions, which is what they do for mobile too. If I'm gonna play a full-on game, I would rather it be on my computer, like not my computer, but my TV or something like that. Yes.
Yeah.
I have so many more things I need to be doing on my phone than playing games, I guess. And it's great if you're out and about, but I mean, that's for lack of better examples, that's what Candy Crush is for. It's just one of those blog games that you just waste, a level or two and call it a day.
Time. It's a chance to fill your downtime while you're waiting in line at Taco Bell, or you're, waiting in a waiting room at the doctor's office or something stupid that you just need to kill some time. Yeah. That's what those games are for. And I feel like that they know this. And, you have games like Brave Exvius that you have to, like, gain energy for, and you can only play so much, within so, you can only play so much in one game session. Like, trying to beat it, you're not going to just sit down and play it and beat it, And I think that they're geared towards the long haul of playing this game indefinitely, and that's not how I play my games. I can't. Right. I have to have an ending to my games, especially if you're going to make it this RPG. It's silly. It's silly. Not where I was expecting this Zap Chats to go. No. Yeah, so that Mistwalker game I was really excited about when I was seeing the previews for it, because it looks really good and it's Nobu music. Like, it sounds really good, but that mobile thing just killed it, and I was...
Speaking of Nobuo, I read an article earlier that said that he is looking to finish. He's not going to be working on full-blown soundtracks anymore.
That's part of what this was. It was this game that he's working on right now is his last game.
Yep.
That he is going to be producing. I don't even remember the name of the game. Not that I would care to endorse it whatsoever, just because it's a stupid mobile game. But no, it's... So, from what I've heard, I don't know, obviously, I'm not, like, friends with Nobuo, but they're saying that he's claiming that this is going to be his last game. Like, he will always be working on music, but he will be more of a supporting, role where he'll be adding influence without directing the entirety of it.
For some reason, I was already under the impression that that's what he was supposed to be doing anyway. And then he just didn't do that. And maybe that's the case. I don't know. But that's the impression I got when he first announced that he was having, or not he specifically, they first announced that he was having health issues, which is why he's stepping down.
I'm sure that it's something that he's been working towards for a while. Like, I'm retiring, so I'm kind of done. And then it's like, psych, I'm going to be doing, this game. And it's like, no, I'm really going to retire now. And then, psych, here I am in this game. Like, I think he's trying to, but so many people like his work and he makes so much money off of it that everyone wants him to be doing,
I imagine
the
the hardest part is the time crunch. Like, I'm sure he would love to be making this music in the time frame that he can do it comfortably, but I imagine with the time crunch of getting it out by the time the game comes out.
And I think that's where he's going. He's probably like, yeah, I'll do like 2 or 3 songs in my, 6 months that I have before the game is released, but like that's all. Like I'm not going to sit and do your entire soundtrack. I'll just do a small section and, work with, collaborate with you guys on other music, but I'm not going to be the sole, director.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, though, every time I see his name on an article, I have this mini panic attack. Like, oh no, he's gone.
Yeah. It's funny because I don't feel that way about the majority of the rest of the Square Enix people. Like, what's the Final Fantasy guy?
Oh my gosh. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah,
I know
I can't think of it either. But, like, I can't even come up with his name. So, like, from my perspective, like, yeah, he's a big influence on my gaming genre, but, like, Nobuo is, like, the man, Like, everything he's touched ever since Final Fantasy started coming out has just turned to gold.
Well, there's a lot of iconic pieces in there.
That's true. Well, and I have to say that the art or the music direction for the Chrono series is amazing too, and Nobuo wasn't even in that. So, there are other greats out there too, but again, I don't know their names.
Yeah, I know a few of them, but yes, I know what you're saying. It's important to you and me specifically because we're so into the Final Fantasy series. So yes, but yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, our days are numbered with him, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, on the plus side, this isn't like I'm done creating music, so I mean, it's bittersweet, I suppose, if anything. So, as long as he's taking care of himself, we got to see him with Distant Worlds at one point.
Yeah, a couple times. I've gone to Distant Worlds 3 times, I think. And for people who don't know, Distant Worlds is an orchestrated version of the Final Fantasy music. And they typically have a team of people that go to local orchestras and train those people to play the Final Fantasy music. And I think that that's how most orchestrated music goes, where they don't have like the entire orchestra goes from city to city. The key people go and direct the music, direct the orchestra. Like, we've gone to St. Louis, we've gone to Chicago, and both times, the orchestra is like the St. Louis Orchestra, but it's, Arnie Roth, I think is the
director.
Yes, whatever. Music terms, I don't know. But anyway, so they bring their people in and, work with the local orchestra to put on this presentation. And yeah, it's cool. I think each time that I've gone, the 3 times that I've gone, we've seen Nobuo there. And I've kind of thought about trying to get his autograph, but it's like, it costs a lot to do the meet and greet thing. And I didn't want to put forth that much money into it. Like, the tickets alone are already pretty expensive. Then to tack on the meet and greet thing, it's like, no. But there was one time that we went out back. We left like right after the show, and he was like standing around out back, and I wanted to ask for his autograph, but I didn't have anything. Like, I had literally nothing with me for him to autograph. And if I did, it's not like I have a pen just hanging out in my pocket, So it was a missed opportunity, but it was cool to just see him, and he was like super close. Like, it was just, I don't know, it was neat.
Ah. That's nice.
Yeah. Honestly, it's really cool to go to those orchestras. If you guys have a chance, pretty much any major video game or, franchise even, they will do an orchestrated version of the music. So I've seen Zelda, Pokemon, Final Fantasy, obviously.
Went to the Nier Automata.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Really cool.
Kingdom Hearts.
It's what's so cool about those places is that no one really bats an eye about all these people dressed all sorts of weird, and we're all just a bunch of nerds.
There's so many. When you go to something like that, there's so many types of people there. You have the people who are like formally dressed up. Then you have the like cosplayers who are like not formally dressed up, and then you have the like average nerd like me and you who are just like in jeans and a hoodie. Yeah. So it's like you fit in no matter what you're wearing and no matter what kind of vibe you put off. You go and enjoy the music. Everyone there is fans.
We went to the Nier concert, and this symphony we went to, the symphony venue, was fancy. And
was it in Chicago?
It was in Rosemont.
Yeah, okay.
It was awesome. The whole place was really cool, and I did not belong there. That was not my place to belong there. But everyone else didn't belong there either, so it was all good. It's just I went into the bathrooms and I was like, "Oh no, I shouldn't do that in this room."
Yeah, the orchestra venues are schwanky. Like, they are nice.
Fancy.
And you do feel a little out of place until you look around and you see, like, there's a couple kids in this corner playing Pokemon. And, you've got a couple people over here with, like, foam swords. And then you've got, somebody dressed as Cloud across the room. And it's like, no, these are my people.
I wonder what the employees feel. Just looking at the sea of nerds.
They have to know it's coming, though. I mean, if you put on a video game type thing, they have to know. But I mean, it's not even, if you're into literally anything, I mean, they orchestrate music from like Jurassic Park, and we went to one for Harry Potter. So like they'll play the movie and then the orchestra plays the background tracks, and it's phenomenal. It's so neat to have that experience.
Well, and I think it's cool too to keep, not that I necessarily thought it was dying, but to keep like the symphony going and just that interest, it's like, because who really goes to the symphony? I mean, in day-to-day life,
I think it's just the live music in general. I mean, people really enjoy the live music, and supporting that outlet.
Yeah.
Live music plus, supporting your favorite video game. I mean, that's awesome. Like if you can manage to do that, that's amazing. And that's why I've been so many times to Distant Worlds, because I love the Final Fantasy music, but also I really like supporting anything that Square Enix is doing, and with the Final Fantasy franchise too. So I don't know, it's cool, and it really is a great time. It's not just I'm listening to music, I could do this in my car. Right. No, it really is an experience.
Oh man, I would love to go. It's been the Nier concert was the last thing I did before COVID. I just would love to go back.
Yeah, I think all of us are feeling like it. I'm going through live music withdrawals for sure. Like, I'm having dreams of meeting some of the bands that we normally go and see. It's weird. It's very strange. But hopefully everyone's getting vaccinated soon. And hopefully we can all be back to enjoying live music as a group very, very soon, because I don't know how much more I could take it. I may have to just hire some bands to play in my backyard. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I had to sell 90% of my video games, but you know what? Tonight is worth it.
Oh, man. No, don't do that.
I won't. If I'm going to sell all of my video games, I'm paying off debt. I'm not going to...
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm not going to be hiring a band to come in, as much as I may rather.
I'd rather... Well, yeah, your own personal band.
Yeah, right? I know. So what else, Kaylee? We've been watching some Final Fantasy movies lately. It's been kind of nice. We watched Final Fantasy 15. What was that? Kingsglaive. Watched that a while ago, and that was really good. And after watching that movie, I've been like, yeah, I really like the Final Fantasy movies in general. And then we watched Final Fantasy 7. And
that did not age well.
No. I mean, it's cool to see your favorite Final Fantasy characters on a movie, screen. But the Final Fantasy Advent Children movie, it's not that great. Kingsglaive, such a good movie. Like, like the lips don't quite sync to the audio or whatever, but like beyond that, it's still like the story's pretty good. The graphics are really good. They've held up. I mean, it's not that old, but it's getting there. But I mean, it's held up really well. Where the Final Fantasy VII one, I think the PlayStation 4 graphics are better than the Final Fantasy VII Advent Children movie graphics. Go ahead.
That entire time we were watching that movie, we literally were just dogging on it the whole time.
Yeah, I know. And there's so many like things like, wait, why are the kids here? Like, wait, why? Like Marlene was like taken by the group with the kids, but like Marlene didn't have the stigma, so why the heck was she there? It was just weird. It was so strange. And then Vincent, who just like shows up, it's like, okay, he's just here for the cameo, I guess. Just, I don't know, silly things.
Yeah, that whole thing was
silly Sally, or what's I'm butchering the phrase.
Silly Sally Dilly Dally or something like that.
Silly Sally. What is it? Oh my gosh, why am I having such a problem? I say it all the time.
Silly Sally.
No, it's not. Dilly Dally Shilly Shally. That's what it is. That's it. I got it, finally.
Got it.
But it really is like Shilly Shally, and I thought it was Silly Sally the whole time. And then I saw it somewhere else, and they had said Shilly Shally, and I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, it really is pronounced Shilly Shally. Oh, I didn't know this.
Silly Sally. Wow. Well, now we know. Thanks, Tifa.
Yeah. Well, she taught me something.
Yeah. It's funny because, like, I remember growing up and thinking, wow, Advent Children is my favorite movie. And I'm embarrassed now.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad that it wasn't as good as I remembered it being. I remember it being very like, if you don't know Final Fantasy VII, you may not understand the movie. But no, it's just kind of a bad movie. Like, no matter what, no matter how you look at it, it's just kind of confusing and weird, and their direction, I don't think their direction was super clear on what they wanted to convey in this movie. It was bizarre.
Well, I want to say that there was a whole bunch of novels that was released for it, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think there was like an anime. Oh, you mean for Advent Children? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
On the Way to a Smile or something like that.
Yeah, there's a whole series that deals with the time spent between Final Fantasy VII and Advent Children. There's a mini book for each character, and it goes into like there's one for Aerith, and her like travels through the life stream, and she meets up with like Hojo and a handful of other people that Cloud's team kills along the way, and her adventures through the live stream, and then meeting up with Sephiroth at the end. And, then there's a tidbit about Sephiroth's, like, his manipulation of the live stream causing him to be able to manifest his energy into these three other guys or whatever. It's weird. It's a weird concept. Then there's one with like Barrett and meeting up with Denzel, and I don't know. It's just there is some audio. There's a team. I can't remember off the top of my head. If I find it, I'll put it in the description. But oh yeah, you're right. The live stream.
Livestream.net.
.net. Yeah. Yep. They did the audio for those. So if you guys are interested, check that out. Livestream.net. Yeah, they did like full audio renditions.
It's like an audio book, yeah.
Yeah, like they had specific voice actors for each character. So like they're switching them out. They're not all amazing voice actors. I think they're just like fans of the website or whatever. It's not terrible. It's just you can tell it's fan made, you know. And then so we watched Kingsglaive from Final Fantasy 15. We watched Final Fantasy 7's Advent Children. The only one I also wanted to watch just to talk about was Spirits Within. And like every time I think about watching that movie, I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch that movie again. Like, it's also not a good movie, and I'm worried now. Here it's going on like 20 years old. I'm worried to know how bad it really is.
The way I remember it's exactly like you said. I remember as kids, because again we were kids 20 years ago, thinking that it had something to be like Final Fantasy, and it kind of wasn't. And it was just a bad movie. So yeah, I wonder. It is exactly like you said. I don't know if I really want to watch that. Do I really want to waste an hour and a half of my time?
It's exactly 20 years old.
Wow.
It came out in 2001. So yeah, it's exactly 20 years old this year. And I don't know, maybe we should sit down and watch it and see just how bad the graphics really are. But I remember when we were watching the Final Fantasy VII movie, I'm like, the in-game graphics for Final Fantasy 15 and, like Horizon Zero Dawn, the in-game graphics for PS4 games look better than this movie does. And Advent Children came out a couple years after the Final Fantasy Spirits Within movie. So, like, obviously technology got a little bit better between those two, so I'm sure Spirits Within is just terrible. But like you said, on top of it, it really isn't a Final Fantasy. It's like they slapped the Final Fantasy title on there just to get attention, and it's not really a Final Fantasy movie. I mean, it is at a very, very basic level. I mean, you have reoccurring characters like Cid. You have the topics of crystals to some extent. But yeah, I don't know. It's not a Final Fantasy. It's not what you would think of when you think of a Final Fantasy movie. It's more of just a bad sci-fi movie.
Yeah, it really is exactly what it is. Although, I don't mean, it's been 20 years, so maybe, I don't know.
So maybe it's better now?
No, probably
no, I'm sure it's not.
If it was bad back then, I can only imagine.
I know.
I don't know. That one's gonna be tough to watch. We'll dog on that one too.
Oh, I know we will. I mean, we probably won't even watch it. We'll just be chatting back and forth. So if you guys are interested, we do a movie night periodically on our Discord. The link is in the description, but it's something like discord.gg/fattybees. So if you want to check it out, come join us, Fatty Bees, in the Discord. I usually post all of our, whenever I go live, I post in there. We do general just gaming chit chat, whatever. And then, we have movie nights periodically. I try to let people know beforehand, but typically it's more spur of the moment, like, hey, let's do this, and then we do it. So, if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, make sure you join us and let us know that you're there, and let us know where you heard from us, and we will welcome you with open arms.
Open arms.
So, lastly, I think we kind of wanted to talk about some of the Pokemon stuff. Pokemon just announced a couple new games. Um, Pokemon Diamond Remake for the Switch.
Boo.
And what's the other one? The Pokemon Legends.
Looks pretty cool.
And Pokemon Legends it sounds like the title is technically like Pokemon Legends Arceus or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think that it has to do with pre-Pokemon modern era Pokemon.
Yeah, like
it's like ancient time. So I'll be curious to see how that is.
It's Pokemon feudal Japan.
It totally is.
It looks really cool.
I think it has to do more with like the Diamond region. I don't know the name of it off the top of my head. What is Pokemon Diamond and Pearl's region?
Hoenn? Hoenn. I believe so, yes. I kept wanting to say Sinnoh, and I think Sinnoh is
I'm gonna look it up. Hang on. Oh no, you were right. Sinnoh.
Dang. I should have went with my instinct.
I know you were right. So yeah, I think it has to do with that region specifically, and like in the past of the games.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's made up in the like Pokemon Sword and Shield like look. You know what I mean? Like the 3D free roam sort of concept. So I'm really interested to see what that's like. And because of the title, with it being this like subtitle of Pokemon Legends Arceus, like maybe they're going to do it for different regions, and that would be really cool. If this game turns out to be a lot of fun, it would be really cool to see that concept in other regions as well.
Truthfully, they didn't release a whole lot of information, and they didn't I mean, they showed a decent amount for it to look cool enough, but they didn't show a whole lot of content.
Yeah.
And I feel like that the possibilities is just kind of like, there could be a lot of things that they could do. And I'm kind of excited about that.
It could be amazing. It could be terrible. We don't know.
Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. What are they? Pokemon Shining Pearl and what were their new updates?
I'm gonna look it up.
Pokemon.
All I see is rant. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. That's the remakes. And yeah, they're all like chibi characters.
I hate the chibi. And I know that the original kind of was chibi, but like I really wanted the graphics from Sword and Shield. They were so beautiful.
Yeah, and you know why they did what they did? Because they wanted to just crank out this game as quickly as possible, and they didn't want to completely 3D render this entire game. You know, when they did the Ruby and Sapphire, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, whatever it was, they made that with the X and Y engine. So yeah, it looked amazing and it was remade, but that engine was really simple. Still, like, yeah, it was 3D rendered, but it was still, like, fairly simple, where the Pokemon Sword and Shield is, like, HD 3D rendered. Like, they're, like, full 3D models of the world. So, like, to transform that from, you know, Sword and Shield into Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, I'm sure that they looked at that and was like, there's no reason, because it's a remake.
I don't see why they couldn't just copy and paste like they did in Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Yeah,
everyone's
I agree.
The same.
Well, yeah, I know, really. And I mean, the worlds, I don't know. I don't feel like it would have been that difficult. I mean, Sword and Shield, it was basically a fixed camera for 90% of the game anyway. So why not? Like, how hard could that have possibly been? But, you know, I'm not a game developer, so it's hard for me to say that confidently. How hard could it be to just 3D render the entire video game? You know, who am I to say that? But
I guess it's just my personal thing is I don't mind waiting if they just do it right.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Some people, they don't mind the chibi look. I think it seems like from my group, it seems like the general consensus is, yeah, I don't like the chibi look, but that it's not going to stop me from playing. But I'm still just a bit bummed about it.
Here's the problem that I have more than anything else. Pokemon Diamond and Pearl was not a good game. And so hearing that they're re-releasing it or remaking it doesn't excite me at all, because when we played it, and we played it not that long ago for the podcast, you guys can listen to that episode, but it wasn't exciting. Like, the story was boring, the amount of Pokemon that was in the game was minimal, it just wasn't very fun. So, there's a lot of room for improvement. So, like, they could potentially make more story. They could put more Pokemon into it. But it's just, the original put such a bad taste in my mouth that, like, I have no excitement whatsoever for, the remake.
I think I'm doing it to myself, probably. Because I remember Diamond and Pearl being a good game in my childhood, and of course it was not when I played it again.
Yeah.
I have hopes that it will make me feel better about it, because like I just remember Diamond and Pearl, that was like a fond memory for whatever reason, and I think I'll play it because of that. But I don't know. I think that I'm going to give them the chance to make it better, I guess. I don't know. It was just a okay game, yeah.
I don't know how I feel. I mean, again, we played it just in September. I mean, it was episode 68 for people who care at all. But, like, literally, we just played it not that long ago, and that was the first time I had played Diamond and Pearl. And I was stoked going into this. I'm like, it's a brand new Pokemon game that I hadn't ever experienced before, which is rare because I've played all the other games. So I was excited going into it, and then it just, like, let me down. And I kept trying to get into it, and the harder I tried, the more I was just, like, not into it. And I don't know. You guys can listen to the Pokemon episode, but I'm not excited for the new one. I will be surprised if I find myself buying it. Maybe it will be released and everyone will be like, oh my gosh, it's so much more amazing than the original. Maybe then I would pick it up and be like, I gotta see, But right. I mean, as of right now, I don't see myself getting it. Now the Legends game, I'm all for, but
yeah, that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it couldn't be any worse than Sun and Moon.
Sun and Moon that we picked up and started playing and for a podcast episode, and then just like
never did it.
I don't know. I still feel like it deserves a full attempt.
We didn't even talk about it. You got it, we played it, and then we didn't even acknowledge that we weren't going to beat it. We're just like, so anyway, this other game.
I think...
Was it before the podcast started?
No, because I bought you a copy of it when it was released for the podcast. It was early in the podcast, though. But yeah, like, I bought it, and I was playing it in the background while we were doing something else. And you still hadn't played it. So then I just, like, let it go. And have you ever played it? Like, did you ever pick it up? Oh.
Yeah, I think I got over halfway through.
Yeah. So then I think we were just like, we'll just put it off, because I had beaten it and it had been like months and you were still like only halfway through. So then I just dropped it, and I'm like, at this point, I don't even remember the game. So I would have to like replay most of it at least.
I'm sorry.
No,
I was blaming us, and it was me. I failed us.
It's not that big of a deal. I mean, here it's been years. Like, it doesn't matter. But at some point, I would like to give it a full a full review and a full try on the story, because there's a lot going on in Sun and Moon story-wise, and there was a lot, from my perspective when I played it, it was so drastically different from the original formula of Pokemon that I was, like, turned away from it. Where now that I've played a couple games that are more away from the formula, I might be able to appreciate it a little bit more. Also, I hated the Alolan Pokemon when they first released.
Yeah.
And I like them now because of Pokemon Go, which is, circling back, that's the one mobile game that we've been playing now since it was released, like 3 years ago.
The only game we've stuck with. The Alolan... I don't know, man. I still am not crazy about some of the Alolan Pokemon. The only ones I absolutely love is the Sandshrew and the Vulpix.
Yeah. I mean...
And they're not even, like, tropical. They're just ice.
It was more of, like... When they were first announced, it was like, why are they doing this to my beloved Pokemon? But then, like, they did it for Sun and Moon, and then they did it again with Sword and Shield, and I'm like, no, like, I kind of get it. I kind of understand where they're going with this. They don't do it for all of the Pokemon, but a few of them have this variant. Yeah. And I understand the concept, and I support it a little bit more. But yeah, there's a few, like, Rattata, who just looks terrible. And, well, Rattata doesn't look too bad, but Raticate looks terrible. This, like, huge chubby cheeks.
The Meowth and the Purr.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, that one's probably the worst.
He was awesome just as a regular Pokemon, and he looked like he got stung by bees.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, the Diglets with the hair.
Yeah, that's weird too.
Some of them just... The Geodude kind of made sense. The groovy muck though was groovy.
Oh yeah, no, that didn't bother me any.
I don't know. They didn't really make, some of them just didn't make sense, I guess.
The, like,
but again,
surfing Raichu was kind of weird too.
Oh yeah, that's right, because he was surfing on his tail.
Yeah, it's weird. So what, Raichu can fly now?
Well, I mean, so can Dodrio, so there's that.
True.
It takes off like a helicopter.
I've seen that comic strip.
Yeah. Oh, it's Pokemon. Like I said, if you could have keys as your Pokemon, you'd never lose your keys, though.
Hey, Klefki is super cute for a Pokemon. I really like X and Y, and I would love to play that for the podcast, because I really think, outside of the original first-gen Pokemon, I think X and Y is my favorite Pokemon game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yep. I really liked X and Y.
About X and Y. I liked it, but it was just like, okay. But I that was pre-podcast. Maybe I didn't give it the proper treatment.
Well, and I've heard a lot of people say that Black and White is really, really good too, like story-wise and everything. So there's a few Pokemon games that I would really like to give its time to shine in our podcast. I mean, you know, we've been doing this for a long time. Huh?
Once we're done with Final Fantasy.
Yeah, maybe we'll just do the entire Pokemon series. That's true.
I mean, we're getting pretty far.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking, too, that I was kind of itching to start up a Final Fantasy. Like, it's been... Final Fantasy 7 was the last... Oh, no, Final Fantasy 8 was the last time we played a Final Fantasy game, and that was in November. So, like, it's been a few months since we played a Final Fantasy game, and I'm kind of feeling the itch.
I did get the itch. I wanted to play 9 earlier today, really bad. So I know it's probably, if we don't play it next, probably really
right
soon.
Afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yep, we will see.
We keep going back and forth, but...
Yeah, I mean, the hard part is, especially when we're deciding what games to play, I only have time to play the games that we have listed for the podcast. I don't have time to play anything outside of that. So I have, I'm only really playing 12 games a year. Like, really, that's all I'm playing. That's all I have time for. So for us, we have to be kind of picky and choosy about what games we toss in. If it's not going to be our part of our Final Fantasy series, then it needs to be something that is worth our time and effort to put in. You know, it's different for like the thrift shop stuff where we could just throw in a game, play a couple hours of it and be like, ooh, this was really good. Or, oh yeah, no, this is terrible. You know, when we're playing only 12 games a year, we want it to be a good experience to some degree. You know, we don't want to just throw in blah. We don't know what it's going to be like, but I don't know. It's hard because there are games like Claymates where we played it because of the nostalgia value and it turned out to be terrible. But like, I don't want to play nothing but great games. Like, I know that the AAA titles are going to be decent games. So like, I don't know. It's so difficult. Again, with us only playing one game a month, you know, we kind of have to be careful of what we want to actually put our time into.
Right. Yeah.
So
but we're also here to have fun.
Yeah, that really is it too. We just want to have fun playing the games that, I mean, yeah, we're doing it for a podcast, but at the end of the day, we just want to play games and beat them and enjoy the adventure. So
yeah, yep,
cool, man.
Good times.
So, anything else you want to talk about on this? What turned out to be a lengthy Zap Chats?
Oh, Yuffie.
Oh yeah, totally.
How could we forget?
I don't know. So Final Fantasy VII is coming to PS5.
Yay.
No one is surprised nor all that excited. At least not anyone in my body.
I'm excited only because we were lucky enough to get a PS5.
Right, so like you can plug in the PS4 version and get the PS5 updates and then get the DLC for Yuffie, which is significantly cheaper. But like, I don't know, I saw this coming a mile away when they were releasing Final Fantasy VII Remake so close to the PS5 announcement. I knew that this was coming. But, like, the Yuffie thing doesn't excite me all that much. Like, it's kind of interesting, and there's a lot of, like, interesting concepts that they're throwing in there. But, like, I would rather them be focusing their time and effort into the next game, not into DLC.
I agree, but I think this potentially, I mean, at this point they're not following it close at all. So at this point, at least they're trying to make her, and because you know, in the original, she's just an optional character, where this is making her more of a, this is an important character. Giving her a little bit of light, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And the cool thing is they have so much freedom with this potential story. With it being Yuffie didn't make an appearance until outside of Midgar. So, like, you can literally do anything and the fans can't get mad at you about it because, like, there's no saying that Yuffie wasn't in Midgar during this time. So, yeah, you're right. To that extent, like, they have so much possibility story-wise to give her more history and more likability. But I have to say that her character design is pretty cute. Like, she really looks, they really did good on her character, I think. Yeah, I think so too. I think normally I would be upset because, like you said, I would rather them be working on part 2. But on the other hand, it's one of those things again where, like, when it's done, it's done. So it's like prolonging. I don't know. I don't know. It could be something that they had planned that they were just working on, and they're like, we'll make it DLC as like a halfway mark between the two games, just to kind of satisfy the Final Fantasy fans. If you think about it, they're sticking to Midgar, so they already have all the maps and stuff. They're just adding. I can't imagine it took much more time out of their time. I don't know. But maybe because they're releasing that as DLC for the PS4 edition too, right? So like maybe I'll get the DLC and maybe we'll play it for a Zap Chats or something. Like I can't imagine it deserves a full podcast episode, but it may be worth playing and talking about on a Chats episode.
Did you notice though I was gonna say stupid and kind of, but the mobile games they're releasing with it?
No.
You didn't
I
see
don't want to know. We just got done bashing mobile games. I don't want to know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What are they doing? Tell me. I want to know.
They are doing here it is. The Ever Crisis. It is a chapter mobile game of. I don't know if it's. I'm trying to remember.
I didn't see any of this, so I don't know what source you're pulling from.
They had recently. I'm sorry, I'm butchering this. We had noticed that they had reserved Ever Crisis and another one with like their patent their names or whatever you call it, or they copyright them. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And they did Ever Crisis, which I think is chapter wise covering all of Final Fantasy VII for mobile. And then they're doing The First Soldier, which is a battle royale game. So
yeah, I did see that.
And supposedly it's supposed to be them when they first like get Soldier together and stuff. But they use so this is like, I don't know, I want to say 30 years before the game or something like that. But they use the original maps from the Final Fantasy game. So like nothing has been updated to like reflect the time change. So it's just everything looks the same.
That's weird. Yeah, I think those Battle Royale games, they're just like filler crap.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
But, they did this with Final Fantasy 15 too.
Yeah, I know. And did that?
I don't know, but
I don't feel like it was really that big of a difference. Like it made any impact.
I honestly thought it was dumb, and I thought it was dumb that they slid it in the actual game that's what they were playing. Yeah. They were advertising their own game with everything else being advertised in that game.
Yeah,
I don't know. I have no interest in them really at all. That was also part of what was announced along with the Yuffie and the PlayStation 5 graphics upgrades. I do think it's a little crappy that you have to have a PlayStation 5 to play the Yuffie.
Do you?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure you have to, like, if you upgrade your PlayStation 5 graphics, you get the ability to purchase.
I thought that it was. Oh, I see. Yeah. Oh, that sucks. Because, like, the majority of the population can't get their hands on a PS5.
That was my argument too. You would think money-wise that they would want to get their money, you know what I mean? I think that's weird too, but
the problem with the PS5 is nothing to do with it's there's a chip shortage right now. So like getting their hands on any kind of hardware right now is really, really difficult. So like for me, I work at a company that I do their IT stuff for, and we buy computers, and we are having a really hard time getting computers in the door. So like it has to do with this like worldwide chip shortage from what I've heard. I don't know the details, but that's the problem with the PS5 and the Xbox, is that you can't get your hands on it because the manufacturers physically cannot finish producing the systems. Yeah.
Well, on the plus side, I still have, we have.
Right, and that's what I was just about to say. So yeah, I mean, when it comes out, if you end up getting it, then, we can all sit down as a group and we can watch, we can play it as a group and talk about it on a Zap Chats, not making it a huge entire podcast episode, but I mean, a Zap Chats, it's a perfect spot for something like that.
Yeah. I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited. It's something to do in between, and
keeping your hopes up for the next game. I mean, if they keep, the good news is for characters like, now we have Cloud, Barrett, Tifa, Aerith, Red, and now Yuffie. They're adding these characters as far as like animations and their character models and designs. All that's out of the way. So when they make the next game, they just pour over those same, assets into the next game. It won't be, they don't have to spend all this time. They don't have to remake Cloud. Cloud's already done. He already has all of his movesets. He already has all of his design. They may add more, like, abilities, but I can't see, like, I don't know. I'll be curious to see how they change. There's so many things, like, will your save data be rolled over to the next game? And if so, how are they going to deal with, we've already upgraded our, Fire to Fire 3 or Fire Aga. So, like, how are they going to keep building on top of that? That'll be really interesting to see. On the flip side, I don't want to start from level 1 again. So...
I am curious how they're going to... I wonder if they're going to do the same thing for Vincent and his backstory.
Probably.
With, like, Lucrezia and Hojo and everything. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah,
I don't
probably.
know.
Which means, in another 3-4 months, we may get a Vincent DLC.
Maybe. Or maybe they won't until after... Well, I guess... No, that might make sense. I don't know.
Yeah,
It'll be interesting to see if they do.
Agreed.
We'll see.
All right. Well, I think that about covers everything for our topics for today. How do you feel?
I think that's good.
All right.
Had a decent amount to talk about.
Yeah. We filled almost an hour's worth for sure, if not a little over. All right, guys. Well, thank you all so much for listening to this lengthy Zap Chats. I hope you had some fun listening to us ramble on about all sorts of different topics. Let us know if you want to talk about something specific. If you want to ask us some questions, we may be doing another Q&A Zap Chats episode soon. So send us your questions. That would be awesome. Follow us on all of our social media. You can check us out at zapnight.com where you can see all of our past podcast episodes, and you can follow us on YouTube where you may be watching this on YouTube. If you are, subscribe while you're here. That would be amazing. And if you're not, you can go over to our YouTube channel. We do a couple thrift shop games every month. So in between our podcast episodes, being our podcast reviews and our Zap Chats, we throw in thrift shop games where we pull games off the shelf and sit down and play them for somewhere between 20 to 40 minutes, give or take. The last one was on the cat game, Cat Lateral Damage, which was a fun little indie game that I found on a huge lot of indie games that I picked up over the summer. So if you want to check that out, follow us on YouTube. We got all sorts of other stuff on there too. So yeah, guys, thank you all so much for hanging out and listening to this episode, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.